Recording! We're live again. Alright. Here we go. Let's change the camera. You can see me. Alright, so our next order of business, now that I have finished making my replay, is that I need to talk about your replays, which is the hard part of this stream, because now I need to actually, because before when I was making videos, it was like, oh, let me just look at this replay and watch it a few times, get an idea of it, get in my brain, and then I can talk about it. But now I just need to look at it, and I just need to do that shit on the fly, and it's hard. But I believe in my strength. Give me your power, you guys, and we might be able to make it through together. Alright? So, I'm gonna switch my camera to this. I'm gonna download Hakeson. So we're gonna look at this replay real quick. It's by Hakeson. It's called Serpentine. I did not just put a poster on my wall. I've always had posters on my wall, guys. So, Hakeson's replay is looking like a Sambo decap. He's got some stuff, and we're gonna peep it. All right. So let's see. Here's what he does. So he starts off the replay by doing the classic, I'm gonna go this way, then go the other way. It's because when you start off a Tour Bash match, I don't know if you can see my Jesus pose I'm doing, but you have both your arms out, and so that means your pecs, both your pecs, all of your joints are in a neutral position. They can move an equal distance either one way or the other. If your pecs, they can move back or they can move forward. So I mean, a common thing to do when you're making a replay is to start by moving a lot of your joints to one extreme, and then reversing that, and then moving it into the other extreme. So that's what he's doing here. He's starting off by saying, okay, I need to go this way before I can move this way. So that's a classic opener. It's up there with going down low to the ground so you can push off the ground and do stuff with it. It's the same sort of idea, because you're starting off by giving yourself the potential to do cool stuff. I didn't forget to say it gives you more momentum. That's what it does. That's what I was saying the entire time. So, what he does, so it plants the leg, does a little spin. One issue I have with this right here is that the spin, the spin is a little bit slow. You can see that he just sort of jumps in the air, and he only really pulls off a 180, which isn't that much spin. It's cool to have a lot more spin than 180. He just doesn't, I don't know, I feel like he's not pushing off the ground very much. He's mainly just using his arms to I'm moving my arms in the air and then spinning around. And then, but it's a lot better to you can see that he's jumping off of his left leg rather than his right leg, which really limits the momentum you can get out of the opener. You can see his right leg just sort of comes off the ground and he's jumping off the left leg. And if you try to do that in real life, you're not going to get nearly as much momentum. Actually, wait. I'm kind of fucking... This song already came on. I'm actually kind of dumb, because you totally jump off your left leg, but I feel like he didn't push off enough with his right leg to get that full amount of spin that was possible from the jump. Because it doesn't even look like... His right leg just isn't pushing off the ground hard enough. And I feel like if he contracts his right pec and then extends it a little bit. And I feel like if he had kept it contracted, he probably could have like brought it through and gotten a little bit more spin on it. And then he goes down to the ground to set up for another thing. And once again, he's only pushing off with one of his legs when I feel like he could be using both. This is Sambo, so it's a little bit different from what I'm used to. But what I'm thinking is that it would be good if he had maybe extended his left glute here. I don't know if you can see my mouse. Yeah, you can. If he extends his left glute here, he might have been able to, when you extend the glute, then his hip would be like a little bit more angled, so he could kick off the ground and transfer that into a spin. But he has his glute contracted, so all he can really do is just lift that foot off the ground and then kick off with his right leg instead. Which I feel like if he had used that and used a combination of his left and right leg to build momentum, they would have gotten a lot more out of it, and he would have achieved his goal of spinning fast. Because I'm assuming that's what your goal is, right? Because, I mean, spinning fast is cool. So, also another thing to note here is that I feel like he raises his arms a little bit too soon. Because when you're jumping, you want your entire body to be moving in tandem. And I don't want you guys to be submitting other people's replays unless they're like really, really good, because like I'm already getting a lot of replays as it is. I want to try and get to everyone while I still can, because like right now I have 10 replays, and that's kind of like the maximum of what I want to do. But like I would only want to get like one submission per person, because like I just don't want to like get bogged down with a bunch of shit and then like not have time to get to everybody. I guess I would give preference to the people who are present over the people who are not. That's my reasoning. But anyway, it'd be good if his body was moving in tandem, and it'd be cool if he could raise his arms like as he's jumping off the ground, because as it is, he's sort of like raising his arms and then his arms are just up there while his legs are doing, let me slow this down, his arms are already in the air and not doing anything while he's this is going slow. His arms are already in the air here and his legs are still in the act of jumping. You can see. So like his arms are doing nothing. So then he kicks off, does actually a pretty cool spin, pretty slick spin, 180 to get that boom. And that 180 spin to get that boom is definitely like the highlight part of this replay. He did a really good job at using all of his momentum there. Like he definitely made the most out of what he had to get that spin and get that boom hit. That I have no problem with at all. I think that's really good. It's actually a really nice boom hit. What I do have a problem with is that the opener is kind of slow, and he's not using his body to its full potential, I don't think. And he's not like, it doesn't seem like it's a creative choice either. It seems like he's just failing to use his body the way to get its most effectiveness out of it, rather than purposely not doing everything for like a certain look. It just sort of looks like he messed up and didn't do everything the way that he exactly wanted to. That's what I think. So, okay, that's one replay. One replay down. We're gonna keep going. Our next replay is gonna be Pani Pesto by Chartle. Chartle, being an old school replay maker who seems to name all of his replays after pastas. So looks like he blows some shit up in this replay. Things explode, and gets grabs and breaks them. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at what he's doing. So, from what I've noticed about Chartle's replays is that like he doesn't seem to place a big emphasis on movement in his openers and stuff like that. But what he does do a really good job at is beating the shit out of Yuke. And he does that here, definitely. So in the opener, this is a pretty, like, I wouldn't want to call it basic, but, like, it sort of is in a way. Like, this is the kind of opener that, like, it looks like I'm gonna click on a few joints and see what they do. It's like, this is the kind of opener that you make when you, like, first start the game. Which, I mean, is cool if you use it. And I kind of like how he used that and sort of fell into position. Like, he did a really good job at smoothly bringing up his left leg and bringing it to the back. Like, I do actually really like how he managed to bring his leg back like that. The thing is, he puts himself in this position where, like, if you put yourself in this position, there's, like, I don't know, there's an expectation for you to have, like, an explosive... I'm not making fun of Chartle, I'm just saying what it is. I like Chartle, but I never try to be mean in my streams, by the way. I never want to just, like, diss you. I'm trying to just say what I think about the replays objectively, okay? And objectiveness is impossible, but forget about that. But anyway, when you see someone in a position like this, you're expecting a certain explosiveness from the ground. And I feel like he doesn't quite deliver in that sense, because, like, the initial coming out of that position is he doesn't even use his legs at all. He just sort of pushes against the ground with his right hand. And so that causes him, I feel like, to be a little bit slow in the air initially. He's a little bit slow in the air initially. Because he's limiting himself to only pushing off the ground with his hands rather than using his legs, which he did have on the ground. I do have your replay no name. How do you even know which replays I have downloaded? They're not even on stream. Okay, I actually don't have this replay. I don't think. It's so hard to just get all these replays because I need to be, like, paying attention to actually talking in the stream. I should hire someone to just, like, troll the stream and download all the replays and then upload them to a RAR file and then send it to me, rather than download them myself. That'd probably be more efficient, but I'm not gonna bother with that shit. We're here, we're going. So anyway, he pushes off the ground with his right hand here. Maybe not the most optimal way to push himself off the ground, but he does get a nice hip dismemberment with his right hand here. I do like. It looks like he got a little bit light with the. There's a little bit of a light hit. Let me see the speed. Oh, it's going pretty fast, but, like, he doesn't have a lot of time to sort of, like. He doesn't have a lot of time to do his stuff. So it looks like it's a little not. Actually, that first punch I don't have too much of a problem with. The punch, that's cool. I do like the sort of scissor arm thing. It's going at 40. It's going at 49. I'm sorry you can't see the speed. It's going at 49 speed. So the first two hits are kind of cool. Maybe I'm not a fan of his leg movement during this initial section, because, like, his legs are just sort of, like, out there floating most of the time. He does get that little sneaky right leg dismemberment hook, but it doesn't have like a lot of power behind it. You can't like feel it. It just sort of happens. That next punch there is pretty nice. Gets 1 dismemberment. Oh, that's impressive. If you look at his right leg here, he somehow gets this really nice... How the hell did the head even break from that? I'm surprised. Like, if you look at that... Whoops, this is going slow. But if you look at that right leg comeback, it's like... That's impressive. I'm surprised that in decaps. But anyway, so he gets that nice hit. I actually do really like that hit though, it looks cool. Like if you look at just like how he brings his foot back and then explodes, that's really nice. And then he brings he has this grab on the torso piece, and you can whip those things around real fast, so it's really fun to dismember them. And so he comes in with his punch. Like, I know you can't see the speedometer, but from whipping that torso piece around, he's getting 52 speed. And then he just sort of smacks it against the ground and then breaks the shit out of it, grabs it again, and he just snatches... Ooh, that's kind of funny. If you look at how he breaks it, he grabs it and he just takes his hand and like he sticks his hand right inside the piece and just snags the crotch block right off of it. Sort of like he just snatches it. I kind of think that's kind of funny. I like that. And then he just gets crotch block at the end and poses. So that's pretty cool. The head was definitely attached initially. Like, okay, since you guys are talking about it still. Opt bruise 0. This turns off all bruising. I use this to count dismemberments. And so, I mean, if you look at it, the head is definitely still attached. Foot comes in, head is not attached. That's what happens. But in conclusion, this replay, a lot of really nice destruction hits, really good dismembering of Yuke. I think it gets like it just gets better as it goes on. It's just like it starts off a little bit slow and speeds up, and he keeps breaking shit, and it's awesome. It's awesome by the end. But I feel like if he stepped up his opener game a little bit, it'd be even more impressive. Because I feel like the opener is like a little bit slow, and I don't feel it. I don't feel the opener inside me. I don't feel the power. And so that's what I want. I want to feel the power. So that's what I gotta say. I feel the power when he's dismembering, but I don't feel the power when he's opening. Alright? That's a replay. That's a replay right there. We're gonna talk about another one. What's next? Ooh, what was that replay called? This. Okay. This is Faded by Galaxy. A quick little, like, 3-hit Madman, sort of. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Let's take a look. Let's examine. So he starts off with the back-to-back opener. I mean, there's no real reason to do it. I mean, it's just sort of fun. I mess around with the back-to-back openers. So what we got. So to start off with, he starts off really quickly with just sticking his foot back, pushing off Yuke, and then kicking. I need to download his textures. People always trying to show off their texture sets. But anyway, the cool thing about... One cool thing that I like is people pushing off of Yuke to gain momentum. Because really that's the only... There are only two things that you can get momentum from. You can get momentum from pushing off the ground, and you can get momentum from pushing off of Yuke. In any way. Because, I mean, grabbing is pushing off of Yuke in a sense. And just hitting Yuke is a way of pushing off him. So, he kicks off Yuke to build up a little bit of momentum, pirouettes on the ground. I do really like, if you look at his foot, I do really like the movement of his foot on the ground, how it sort of like scoots against the ground there. That's actually pretty cool. Because he's like sort of slowing it, he's sort of like controlling his momentum with the foot there. Like it's just sort of sliding on the ground. I actually really like that. That's really neat. Because it's really hard to like slide your foot. It's not too bad to like plant your foot, but sliding your foot is actually really, really hard to do in this game. So the foot slide kick, the very first, all of that 70 frame stuff was pretty sweet. That's all nice stuff. I like that. And then he comes in and gets the second punch. He grabs and then comes in and punches. So, I do kind of like... Yeah, that's pretty sweet. The punch is like strong and it comes in real hard and then just smacks Yuke. I think I might have liked it a little bit better. It was more of like a... So, I mean, in Torabash, there are two kinds of punches. There are the slap punches, which are way easier, where you come in and you go like, yeah, and you just smack them, and it does like a bunch of dismemberments. But also, there's the like real punch, where you take your hand and you come in and then you punch them, like, eh. And so in this case, like, it looks like Galaxy started to do a real punch by contracting his wrist like this. But then, like, I don't like how his wrist is like completely extended as he comes in with the punch. So I think I would have been nicer if his wrist was like a little bit more contracted on it. But you can't even really notice it at full speed, so it's not that big of a deal. What is a little bit of a big deal though is I know you don't punch with your wrist like that in real life, but that's how you do it in Torabash. It's like, so I took Taekwondo when I was a kid, and so what you do in Taekwondo is like you extend your elbow like this. This is like a slow motion punch that they teach how to do. And at the very end, you sort of like twist your wrist to get that extra oomph at the end. And so it's sort of like the same idea, except it's like you're extending your wrist instead of twisting it. You see what I mean? So I think of it as a real life punch, and also just because, I mean, you don't think of punching someone as going like, eh. That's not a punch, it's like a slap, except it's with a fist. A real punch is when you extend your elbow. But anyway, I'm getting off track. I'm sorry to pause and drink water like every 20 seconds, but my voice gets tired. So he punches and grabs. He gets his head hit. I mean, obviously you don't want that to happen. Getting your head hit is like ugly, and it makes people look at you in a bad way, and it makes people look down on you. So you just gotta not get your head hit. That's like, because I mean, like, it's just getting your head hit is like one of the only things where I can say pretty much just never ever do that. Just don't get your head hit, please. Just don't do it. Like, pretty much ever. There's almost no situation where you want that to happen. So, I mean, edit that out, boys. He gets the punch, gets the grab. I mean, in the situation that he was in, it looked kind of hard to not get his head hit. But I mean, you gotta edit that shit. That's all I gotta say. And then he comes in with that last kick and gets the two dismemberments. I feel like it looks like he could have gotten a boom hit with that kick. I mean, if he had maybe if after his punch he didn't immediately grab and then maybe moved his hand a little bit higher to sort of grab the back of Yuke's head. Because what I've found is that it's the easiest place to kick when you're making a kick is to... One second. The easiest way to get a kick, to aim your kick, is your kick just sort of naturally goes right to where your hand is. So if he had maybe moved his hand up higher, he could bring in his foot, and then like his hand, because you can see his hand is at the bottom there. If you look at his hand and foot in relation to each other, he's like kicking right at his hand. So imagine if instead of grabbing the chest piece, his hand was here. Like, just imagine Yuke's torso transposed lower, and it's just a way better angle for him to get this kick, and then possibly a decap. Because, I mean, as of now, he doesn't have a decap, and decaps are good. And then he just sort of, after that kick, the combo is over. There's not really much he can do after that kick. So he just sort of falls into his pose, and that's that. So overall, this is a pretty simple replay. It's over really quick. He gets right into business, and does a lot of really cool, and does just 3 quick hits. And it's over. Main complaints is that, I don't know, maybe it's a bit too simple. He doesn't leave himself a lot of room to sort of like swag out. And then the other problem is that he got his head bruised, which is bad, and then he didn't get that decap. So those are my 3 issues with it. I do really like that foot slide at the beginning, though. I just want to reiterate that. The foot slide is awesome as shit. So I like that. Do that again. So, that's that replay. Talking is hard, guys. Damn. Oh wow, this guy's name is actually No Name 4692. Okay, so that's actually kind of a sick opener. So this is looking like a Sambo decap thing. Oh, I'm getting another replay. Gotta download it. Alright. So, in the opener, he's just doing a... Ah, that's really cool. Like, I like just he sort of spins around. He plants his arm on the ground. And then uses both of his arms to continue the spin like that. That's just really sweet. And like that whole like 150 frames, like up to this point, the replay is awesome. So thirsty. So thirsty. But up to that point, I really like this replay. But then after this point, he kinda, it seems like he kinda fucks up, for lack of a better word. Because he does his cool spin, right? He taps Yuke, no problem. But then he just sort of like stutters. Like he hits the ground and he just loses all the momentum that he had built up from his opener. And so he just doesn't continue the flow very well. Like, I don't know what he's doing. He's like doing really good, and then he just like touches the ground, and then he's just like jarring himself, and then he kicks the ground, and like that's kind of a messy grab, and then he just sort of holds it for a second, and then gets that decap kick. So like, alright, so he gets this grab. And normally when you do a grab like this, you want to immediately, as soon as possible, get whatever kind of hit you're going for in. But what he does, he gets his grab, and then he like contracts his knee, and he just sort of hangs out for a second, and then he brings it up and then gets the decap kick. So I mean, like, I really would have liked for him to sort of get a little bit of a speedier hit from that grab, because just hanging out, grabbing Yuke doesn't look very good. If you're just like holding on to him, it makes you look like you're just like don't know what you're doing. So it'd be cool if he got, it's a boom, yeah, but it has a decap. But like the point is that it is a decap. It doesn't matter that it's a boom that much, really. What matters is that it's a decap hit. So he gets the grab, holds it up for a second, and then kicks. And then the spin into the pose is actually pretty sweet. I like that. And he poses, and that's it. But it's so weird, like this replay. Okay, so he starts off with this really nice opener, and then he just sort of like does this weird, he's just moving around in a really goofy way that doesn't really fit. And at the end, he does a nice spin again. Like, it feels like once he actually has to, when he has to actually interact with Yuke, he has some issues. But, like, his movement without Yuke is actually pretty good. But, like, the grab and all that stuff has a lot to be desired. It almost looks like the opener is made by a different person. So, I mean, I guess that's my issue with this replay. It's just like he's moving pretty good, but then he's just like, I don't know, his movement after that first opener spin has a lot to be desired, I'd say. So that's what I got. So that's what I gotta say to that. Alright. What was the name of that replay? Is it this one? Okay. I just forgot where I was. Ugh. So exhausting. This is hard. So next we got something from QMA. It's called I Suck at Posing. Let's take a look at this shit. Alright. So here's what he does. The opener, he's moving himself to the right so he can push off the ground with his right leg and push himself forward. It actually, like, I don't want to sound like narcissistic or anything, but the opener kind of reminds me of my default replay, where you wind up back, and then you go forward, and you push yourself off. Like, I don't want to sound like it looks like my replay, but it kind of does. Sorry. But anyway, he pushes off, and he uses the opener really well. Like, this is a good example of how to use your arms to like lift yourself in the air and spin around and do cool stuff. Like, his arms are going up at the same time as he's lifting off, which is good. And then that core kick is really nice. He just gets a lot of nice momentum from his spin, and then gets that core kick, which is neat. The core kick is good. And then the issue here is that, like, after he gets this core kick, like I was saying, there are only two places you can get momentum from. You can get your momentum from Uke or from the ground. He has used up his ground momentum to get this core kick, but now he has to follow it up. So he's just sitting in the air here, and he's got to do something. So he has to get momentum the only way he can, since he's in the air, and he grabs Uke. Right there. And I mean, since, like I was saying, he used all of his momentum to get that core kick, the air section here feels a little bit slow. Because he just can't... Because, I mean, there's, like, nothing he can do, really. Because when you push yourself off the ground like he has in this replay, you're running this risk of, after your initial hit, to have, like, a problem following it up. And so, all he can do is reach forward and grab here. It's just, like, his only option. And there's just, like, there's nothing he can do about it. But it also just doesn't look good because it's just slow and he's in the air and you just have to wait for that grab to connect so he can actually do something else. So I think I've said this before in my stream, but like it's a really good idea to get out of the habit of like jumping into the air towards Uke, because it just sets you up for a lot of issues later on in the replay in terms of following it up. So that's what I gotta say about that. So once he gets that grab, he does the logical thing and comes and kicks. I feel he's in a really good angle. Like, just the angle of this kick looks really good. Like, if he just extended his knee a little bit later, I think he could have gotten a nice boom hit on that. He's got the torso in just a really nice position to just stick his foot right up in there and get a lot of destruction going on, but he just sort of like hits the head to get the decap. So I feel like in the case of this replay, it would have been a little bit nicer to see him try. It would have been a little bit nicer to try and get a boom hit on that, I think. But I mean, the decap isn't bad by any means. It's just like I feel like it could have been more. Yeah, Puzga's saying he edited the replay and got 3DM. I could easily see a 3DM being possible in this replay. And then the pose, actually, he says the pose is lazy, but I actually don't think it's that bad. Because, I mean, if you look at it, he just flows into it really quickly. And it just, like, it's smoothly transitioned into, which I think is actually a lot more important than the pose itself. As long as you get into the pose smoothly, it doesn't really matter that much what the pose is, as long as it's not something stupid like you just laying on the ground, being all relaxed. Because, I mean, like, obviously, if you just relax all and smoothly get into the pose, I mean, by relaxing all, you're just by definition smooth almost. But, I mean, that doesn't necessarily get you a good pose, but I think the fact that he smoothly got into a logical pose is just fine. My only real issue with this replay is the fact that he had to get that grab to follow up his core kick, and that the decap could have been a little bit more impressive, I think. Now, one second, I got to refill my water bottle because I need to talk a lot, and I need water to do that. Just hold on. All right, we're back. Okay, so next replay after this is Fast and Furious with some J's in there to make it nice and funny by iFred. Okay, so this is a Sambo Madman. It's got some cool stuff. Damn, this is pretty sweet. I think I remember Ifred impressing me last week, well, 2 weeks ago too, actually. But so okay, I'm gonna look at this. We did not see this already, I don't think. People want to sleep? But it's like only 4 o'clock for me, I'm sorry. Like, I mean, I'm trying to like start these early for me. But anyway, let me talk about the replay. And anyway, this will just be uploaded on YouTube later. Like, in a couple days. So, I mean, if you miss anything, you just watch it then. But anyway, replay. So, okay, this is pretty sweet. So he does a good job at just getting down on the ground. There's no real issues with anything that he's doing here. I just want to... I'm not 100% sure why he has self-damage on. But I don't think it's really required. And when self-damage isn't required, I just sort of like take it off. Maybe he turns self-damage on to like show off the skeets more effectively. I don't know. But anyway. So he spins around. Uses his body really well to push off the ground. And I actually do kind of like these kind of grabs in the openers, where it's just sort of like you're already spinning around, but you just like use uke to make yourself spin around more. And then he just comes in and gets this really nice, what is this, 4DM? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a huge, that's a pretty nice sized boom right there. You get both glutes, you got the crotch block out, and then you also just get a core along with it. Nice solid kick right there. And then, so he ungrabs. Now he needs to oh, why didn't he get that knee dismemberment? I need to check that out. Okay, so his foot just sort of like... His foot sort of just falls down on it and gets the knee, and he takes it. I don't know if I agree with that. A lot of the time, I don't really like having dismemberments in that look like they're by accident. Just because I'm the kind of person who likes my replays to look like 100% all intentional stuff going on, even though I have no idea what I'm actually doing. But I don't know, it's not terrible. I don't know, I wouldn't have done it myself. And then he gets the follow-up grab. Did he just like... I'm seeing, did he grab and then ungrab and then grab? That's kind of cool. Because what he does is, so he gets this initial grab on the shoulder here. And so he decides that that's not a good position for me to grab to continue this combo. So what he does is he ungrabs, brings his hand around, and then grabs the head, which, if you look at where he was grabbing, which is right, which is right here, his hand would have been in the way for this kick. It wouldn't have been nearly as effective as the position that his hand is in now. So that's a pretty cool little thing that he did. And so he gets that grab, brings the hand around, and gets that. It's a little bit of a messy boom just because of the angle. I don't really mind it though. It's got strength to it. There's a nice and strong punch there. And this is actually the really impressive part of this replay, I just want to say, because, okay, so he starts off by throwing that in the air for an artillery skeet. Artillery skeets are when you throw something really high in the air and that comes down and hits the thing that you want it to. But the cool thing is, the really impressive part is you wait for a second, Okay. The impressive part about it is that he threw the piece into the air. So he had to aim the skeet. Like, if you think about it this way, as you're making the replay, you throw this piece in the air, and you're like, okay, it needs to hit this particular spot. But then, what he has to do, what he does, is he grabs the hand and then makes this skeet. That skeet in itself is not particularly impressive. But what's impressive about it is how much harder it makes his previous skeet. Because he had to hit that head, and then the initial skeet still has to hit the head. And that's hard as shit to do. Like, he had to plan that whole thing ahead and get that one hand to hit the head into the other skeet. And that's impressive. That's hard shit to do. People used to do this kind of thing a little bit back in the day, but I feel like skeets aren't as popular as they used to be. But I just want to say that that is an impressive skeet. So, with that said, Torbash just crashed because the skeet is too cool. But, I mean, that's all I need to really say about it. The booms were sweet, the skeet was sweet. I really liked that replay. That was a good-ass replay. Good job, iFred. That's the best replay we've seen so far tonight. I like that shit. It like, reminded me of stuff from, like, 2010 a little bit. And that's not, like, an insult or anything. It's just, like, sort of the style of back then. So our next replay is going to be this thing from Jodis. It's called Screams. It's a madman. Pretty sweet looking. Got a ski at the end. Alright. Stretches. I went to the gym today. So the opener is interesting. Oh, we're downloading. So, opener's kind of interesting. He has both of his wrists contracted, which that's just like a personal choice. Some people like the look of it. I don't really like how it looks with my replays. I don't really mind it though when other people do it. Looks kind of neat. So he turns around, and it's kind of interesting how he contracts his knees really quick, and he contracts knees really quick and gets this quick spin in there. But I don't know, when he does this opener, he does this quick spin and then his body sort of stops for a second. I already have your replay downloaded, Nicholas. Nicholas W. Oh, the other one was wrong? Okay. Gotta download the other one. So, he stops for a second because if you look at his chest, his initial chest movement is to the right, and then he rotates his chest left to get that spin, but then he moves his chest right again for his push-off. And so that's one of the issues with rotating your chest while you're in the air. Because when you rotate your chest in the air, that's just setting yourself... You need to set yourself up to use that rotated momentum. Because otherwise, you're just going to stop. Like, because he had to use his momentum to turn around, but then he has to turn back left again to do this kickoff. That actually wasn't even a burp. That was me clearing my throat. Guys. So, but then he kicks off the ground. I think I have yours, Thrust Best. I'm not sure. Maybe. It's hard to remember everyone's. But, it's really bright in here now. One second. I need to close my blinds a little bit because the sun is, like, in my eyes right now. And it burns. Okay, alright, that's better. So, kicks off the ground here, and then quickly pushes off, and then gets that split kick. I do like the split kick, because he does it while conserving a lot of his momentum. Because he just sort of like extends the knee real quick and pokes it off, which I think is a fine choice as long as you're following it up quickly. I really like quick hits. I don't like those like little hits as long as you're I like when hits are like little like that, because you can just follow up on them real quickly and then do some cool kicks later, which is what he does. He just uses that quick dismemberment and then immediately follows it up with another kick. I like that. If you guys are mad that I'm doing it in alphabetical order, I'll just like reverse alphabetical order from here on and we'll be fine. I have been doing them in alphabetical order though. I totally have been. But second kick is cool. I like the combo there. Just 1-2 real quick. You know what I'm gonna say here. No, look, bad Jonas. Don't do that. And then that's a pretty cool follow-up right there too. That's a really cool looking punch. Like if you just look at like aesthetically speaking, that punch just looks awesome. Like it just has a lot of, I don't know, it has a lot of coolness to it. Just like, I don't know even how to describe it. It just looks awesome, doesn't it? Like, don't you agree? Like it just goes down and like the punch is like, ah, get out of here. It's awesome. I really like that. And then what he does is he does the skeet cap, because gotta get that decap in there. But the thing is, he doesn't get a skeet cap, he just sort of gets a skeet. And I really would have liked for that to be a skeet cap. I think that would have definitely benefited the replay in this case. Like, I'm not saying that I'm fine with this skeet cap actually, because it's a decent distance away, and like it's the punch follow up here is cool. He threw the torso up so he can come down and get that punch, and now he can do the skeet cap. I like all that. What would have been really cool? What would have been really cool actually? Like, this might be asking too much of you, but this is the thing that I would have tried if I was still making these kinds of replays. What I would have done is tried my hardest to get a crotch block dismemberment here with this punch, get the crotch block out, grab the crotch block, and then get a self-damage head skeet in there. That would have been awesome. That's kind of hard to do, and I don't know if you're comfortable doing that kind of thing, but like, that's something I feel like could have been a really cool option to make this replay like super sick. If you had like gotten a crotch block punch and then skeeted with the crotch block. But I mean, I do really like that punch, and I like the choice to skeet here. I just feel like that could have been another option that you could have done. He said he tried to get the decap, couldn't quite get it. I can sort of see that since the angle doesn't look the greatest. Because I mean, if you just see where the hand is coming from, like it's sort of like going up across along Yuke's body rather than like hitting it perpendicular. It's like he has to hit it like this instead of like this. You get like a lot more power when you're doing it that way. So I think it would have been sweet if he'd gotten that decap. Obviously, it's a bad angle, but I feel like, I don't know, he could have done something about it. Yeah, he should have either thrown it earlier or later. But the timing that he had right there was wrong. And it's just a sad fact of life. Yeah, it would have been a little bit too long to throw it later. I think he would have just had to get that throw off a lot quicker than he did. Seems like he sort of like, if you look at the skeet, he just sort of like holds it there for a second before he lets it rip. And I feel like if he had let it rip a little bit sooner, he might have had an easier angle. But other than that, this is actually a pretty nice replay. I like the opener isn't bad, and then like the combo is pretty sweet. But like I said, I would have liked for that to be like a crotch block thing. It would have been cool if he hadn't hit his head. I am not going to try and do a skeet cap right now. I don't think if you guys, I don't know how many of you guys like make replays a lot, but if you actually try making skeet caps, it's the most boring thing to do. Like I haven't made skeets in a really long time, just because they're like really obnoxious to make. Because you just have to aim it. It's just so much like little finicky things that are super annoying to do, and I don't got time for that. I'm a busy man now. But anyway, that was actually a pretty nice replay. It's just like there's a few things that I wasn't totally a fan of. So going in reverse alphabetical order now, because people are getting mad at me going in alphabetical order. Some manipulation, where he does some stuff. This is bonkers. This is actually kind of interesting. One second, I'm gonna let it play through real quick because I gotta. That was an actual burp though, that time. Okay, so this is a super interesting replay to me. So he starts off with this cool opener. The opener looks sweet because I immediately like the opener because he uses extended abs, which is like the most underrated thing ever. I don't care what anyone says, extended abs are the coolest looking thing ever. Like, so I immediately give him props for using that. And like he has a really sweet just spin, and then like if you look at how he pushes his hand. Oh well, it's like relaxed, but if the abs are, the abs are relaxed, but like they're in extended position. Like I'm not saying they are like in extended force, but they're in extended position, and they're like back. You know what I mean? So he does a really good job at pushing off the ground with his hand there. And I also like how he contracts his elbow there. It just like makes it look faster. Like just the fact that he contracts his elbows like makes the spin look even faster than it is, just because there's more movement. And that's pretty sweet. I really like how he uses that. So he comes up, gets right up in Yuke's face, and starts manipulation. So he's sort of in Yuke's face for a second before he actually starts anything, which isn't really that big of a deal. It's just what he did. And he flicks Yuke's legs forward so he can start the manipulation up. Pretty good startup. But the interesting thing that he does here is that normally in a traditional manipulation replay, after you do your first hit, you want to continue with another hit, and then you don't want Yuke to touch the ground, because if you touch the ground, that means you failed or whatever. But what Follow does is it seems like he intentionally just lets Yuke touch the ground here, so he can swag out for a little bit. He says it was supposed to be a manipulation, but he didn't have time for that. But I actually kind of like what he did, because it's like experimental almost. He's messing with the constructs of replay making. So he follows it up by pushing off on the ground, sort of like smacks the hand, and then he just does this crazy ass spin, which is like no one expects. Like you're expecting him to continue the manipulation, but instead he just does this cool looking spin. The issue I have with it is like the beginning of the spin here is pretty sweet. Like he's spinning, kick the foot, that's cool. Spinning. But then like kick, that's cool. But then like he doesn't have anything else to do, so he just has to sort of chill out and spin for a little while. And that is my first like major problem with this replay. He starts to spin and they just sort of keep spinning. And like the spin slows down over time, and I have a problem with that. I have a problem with the spin slowing down like that in the middle of the replay. And then like after he does the kick there, after he does the spin there, he sort of kicks off the ground, and then you can see that he's doing the thing that I don't like, where he had his foot. 1 second. So he has his foot on the ground here, and then it comes off, and then it hits the ground here. And that's one of my pet peeves. I don't like when people like plant their foot and then lift it up and then put it down again. So I would like for him to like just use that initial foot planting to continue his momentum. So then he starts off with that kick, grabs the forearm for whatever reason to break the wrist. It's a cute little thing. I don't know, I kind of like those cute little arm DMs just for fun like that. Gives the replay character. And then he's continuing. I need to stop doing this. I need to be better at looking at replays. But it's pretty cool. If you look here, he brings his right arm down real quick and uses that to push himself off the ground. And then brings his foot up to get a decap kick. And that's pretty sweet. Using his arm, like, bring it down, push off, get the decap. I like that. And then he does more spinning, and then boom, sweet little split kick at the end. I really like how he waited in between that kick and that kick. And it was just kind of cool. Yeah, it's a decap and a peck. It's the decap kick though. Who cares about the peck though? And then he gets the decap kick, and then he just sort of takes his time, decides to swag out for a second, and then it's a really nice split kick. The split kick just looks cool. There's whatever. He has a lot of power going into it, and just whips it around. And it looks so cool, and he just immediately poses from that. So I really like that. And I guess that's it, isn't it? So there's a lot of really cool stuff in this replay, and there's a lot of messing around with just what is inside a replay. But I don't like that little slow spin. And what else was it that I didn't like? I don't like the slow spin. I didn't like the foot planting. And then in this section, after the initial section, his movement gets a little bit more just jerkier in general. It's really smooth up to that point, but it seems like he's sort of rushing at the end to just do stuff. But the end there like really ties it all together. So that's a lesson for you people. That, I mean, as much as I always shit on people for like, oh, you should have just stopped the combo there, you shouldn't have kept going. Like, you can still mess around a little bit as long as you're doing something cool. Like, he's filling my eyes with something interesting besides dismemberments. He's like dancing around, he's doing cool movements, he's doing spins instead of doing dismemberments. So, I mean, you can take your time in between your dismemberments. You need to make sure that you're doing something that's not boring in between the dismemberments and making me feel sad for watching your replay. So, that's a cool replay. I like it. It's got a cool opener, got cool spins, got cool stuff in it. Next replay. Goddamn. I've almost drank this entire water bottle twice. It's a madman called Whoops by Duck. Duck is an interesting replay maker because he does like a lot of stuff that I like, and just for some reason like I don't think he's like super awesome, even though he does stuff that I like. I don't know what it is about him, but so the opener, he's sort of going here, pushes off the ground. All right, pushes off the ground. Gets the double knee. Double knees, I mean, they're just like the classic, really impressive, hard dismemberment to do. And he does it, and it's cool. And what's cool about this double knee is that he continues his spin and then plants his foot again so he can keep doing his spin. That's actually kind of sweet. So he just like brings his foot in, breaks both the knees, then swings through again, so he can get his 3DM boom hit. I just noticed something though that I think might be one of the root issues of why I don't think Duck is like super amazing. At least in this replay. If you're looking at this, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but let's take a look at his shoulders real quick. They're held. Shoulders are held. Shoulders are held. It seems like his shoulders are held for the first, I don't know, 200 frames of this replay. Even more. Yeah, first 200 frames of this replay. So, I mean, I don't know, I feel like he could have used a little bit more variety in his arm movement. It's just like raising your arms and lowering your arms and doing cool stuff like that can make you look like more of a swagged out dude than if you just like limit yourself to keeping them held the whole time. So that's one issue I have that I notice here. It's just like you need to spice up the arm movement. Gotta keep the sex life alive, this arm life alive. But he follows it up, gets that grab, and then brings in his foot for the 3DM boom hit. I don't really have too much of a problem with that because he just like smoothly goes from that first kick to grab, then kick, kick, kick. Like, man, there's just like he does everything like super smoothly here. And then he gets this grab with his other arm, brings in his other leg, and then boom, gets the double leg dismemberment, and then poses. That's it. That's all she wrote. Like, okay, but like this replay is actually kind of sweet. It's just like a really clean combo. Maybe it's a little bit jarring right here with this grab. It takes like a second for him. It takes a second for him to get that grab and transfer his momentum into that kick. It seems sort of like he has to sort of his arm just sort of like stops, and it sort of ruins the like flowing arm movement that he had before. Like it's like his arms are swinging around, they're flowing, and then like it just sort of like has to stop because he's getting that grab. So I think he could have like maybe smoothed that out that transition a little bit. I'm not sure exactly how he could have done that, but I feel like there's some way that he could have maybe made the transition a little bit smoother. Maybe my issue is so for the first in this replay, he starts off doing that full. He's spinning to the right, and then when he gets this grab, is when he starts spinning to the left. When he starts spinning to the left, he's like he has to change his momentum to spin his chest to the left and get that. So maybe a little bit jarring with that grab that he has here, but not too big of an issue, I don't think. Then this grab and that dismemberment are cool. I'm cool with those. Those are sweet. And then the pose is pretty flowed into as well. So I like that. So I mean, like I said, I feel like there's not that much that I should dislike about this replay, but I'm not like impressed by it either, you know? Like he's moving smoothly, he's got this like nice relaxed flow, but I feel like there's just like something missing from it. I mean, maybe it's the shoulder movement, I don't know, maybe his arm movement is like boring to me or something, but there's just like something. I feel like there's something that I want more. I don't know what it is, and I'm really sorry because like it's my job to tell you what it is that I want. This is probably like the reason you watch these streams, but like I'm not sure. Like I should be more impressed by this than I am because he's just like, yeah, he's missing Chemical X, missing the X factor. But like, there's just like really solid fundamentals here, and he's doing all the right things. So I don't know. It's pretty cool though. I mean, like it's got cool dismemberments and stuff, cool kicks and stuff. But I don't know. There's just something I don't like about it. Like the double knee, boom, boom, cool. I like it. All right. Next replay. I only got 2 left. Got 2 left. Starting with this one. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Alright. Okay, we're back. Oh god damn it, Moonshake wants me to talk about one of his replays. Like, I kinda just wanna get, I think Nicholas, yours is the last one. But I think I'm just going to do this one, and then the last one, and then I'm going to be done, because my voice is starting to get kind of tired. Oh wait, no. Nicholas W, can you link your replay again, so I can talk about that one, I guess? I guess I'll talk about that one too, because I don't have it. But, I mean, I'm really tired of talking, so I'm just gonna talk about this one, and then I think I have a Manly Potato replay, and then we'll be done. Okay, yeah, I do have it downloaded. I just didn't put it in the right folder because I'm stupid. Okay, one second, let me do that. Here we go. I had it downloaded, it was just in the wrong folder. Okay. Alright, continuing. Moonshake, I do love your replays though. I gotta say, I'm a Moonshake fan, but I mean, I just like, I got myself to look after, you know. So the opener here, opener isn't too bad. up until this point, because what he does is he's using the ground to do his stuff, and except what he does here is like I fucked up. He contracts his right knee sort of abruptly. He like had it relaxed before, and then he sort of like abruptly contracts it, and that's sort of like a little bit ugly. Probably would have been better, like, I don't know, to hold it, maybe figure out some way to contract it a little bit more before it hits the ground, so you don't have to do it like that. I don't know if this is even a guy. So, or does he have like different textures or something? I don't know. Anyway, he contracts his right knee a little bit abruptly, and also like he extends his left elbow a little bit abruptly too. I mean, I'm doing it, dude. This is what I got. So anyway, he extends his elbow a little bit abruptly as well, along with contracting his knee abruptly. And then you can also see his hand sort of like hit the ground. He extends his elbow there, and that's a little bit of a jerky movement. Like, it's held here, and then he just extends it. It would have been cooler if he had, like, I don't know, held it, maybe, like, relaxed it. He uses his hand to pivot on the ground. Once again, he sort of has this movement where he suddenly contracts his knee there. I downloaded you, dude. I downloaded 3-bar. Like, it's downloaded, but whatever. LP3 bar, like, oh whoops, LP0. What the fuck? I swear I downloaded you like earlier. Like, didn't I do that? Yeah, I downloaded it earlier and then it didn't work. I don't know. Whatever. So he's like doing some jerky movements on the ground here. He's sort of like feeling, he's like touching the ground and punching it a little bit. And it's a lot better to just sort of like plant it and then make your decision. And he just has a lot of, like a lot of indecisive pushing on the ground. But then he finally pushes off and gets that split kick. And then, ooh. So, he pushes off and gets that split kick. And then, gets on the ground here. And then, pushes off. And once again, if you're looking at this, if you're looking at his right leg, it touches the ground here, sort of scoots along, and then he suddenly extends it, like, after it's off the ground. Like, and it's okay to wait, but, like, try and get your foot to not touch the ground until, like, you need to kick off like that, is what I think. But then, he comes up and grabs, and then brings his foot around, and the decap kick into spin is actually really nice. That's definitely the best part of this replay, because he just gets that grab. And also, I want to say real quick, after the split kick, he comes down and, like, he sort of half poses already. Like, that's a pose. And then he's like, wait, I want a decap. So then he comes up and gets a decap. And it would have been nice for him to sort of, like, flow through that a little bit quicker, instead of being like, kick, pose, come around and do another kick. But then, like, the other kick is pretty nice, and then the spin after the kick is really nice. I do really like that spin. But my main issues with this replay lie in just like there's a lot of roughness in the movement here. Like he has cool ideas, like the spinning on the hand here is cool. It's a cool idea, and like the whole push off idea is cool. It's just like it's really rough around the edges and it's not too refined. So I really like the ideas here, but I feel like you could have just like executed them a little bit more solidly. Alright. Okay. Fuck, I'm so thirsty. What do I got next? What do we got? We're looking at Nicholas W. Boludo. Ooh. That's actually kind of nice. Okay, I kind of like that. Yeah, I'm thirsty for dick, that's right. I'm thirsty for like a hard, throbbing cock in my mouth. So next, what he does here, oh no, pure text, thank you, dude. I hate pure text so much. So, okay. Oh, fuck. Okay. So, opener, spins around, gets down, ooh! And then, oh. Okay. I do like that initial punch. Like, that's really cool how he got into that. So he spins around, gets low to the ground, and then he just does a really good job at, he's down like this, then he comes up and gets this nice, he just uses his body really effectively to get that punch. And that's nice. That's a solid punch. It might have been better as like, I don't know, if he had like started his, if he had started his arm like lower and then made it into more of an uppercut, rather than the straight punch that it is now. Like, you can see that his arm is up like this, and then he sort of has to, like, come down for the punch. Rather than, I think it's cooler to, like, go up than it is to, like, come down like that. Sort of, like, scooping his arm in. But maybe that's just personal preference. But anyway, gets that kick, then grabs, and then smoothly comes in for that hook. It's pretty sweet. Like, I mean, he just smoothly flows into that. Like, there's like no noticeable stiff transition or anything in between the kicks. He just, in between the hits, he just punches, grabs, kicks. And it's solid. And then, I mean, like, I don't know, maybe he could have, I think it might have been a little bit nicer if he had, so I mean, okay. Normally when you have to do a skeet dismemberment, it's because you couldn't follow it up in any other way, or you just wanted to show off. In this case, it's obvious that he wanted to show off, because, I mean, he has the grab on Yuke's head here. So he could have easily kept that grab and then rotated his chest left here, brought it around, kept the grab, and then brought his leg around here. I don't know if you can see it. You could have brought his foot around and then gotten a decap kick or something, or even like a punch or something. But he lets go because he wants to do a skeet decap. But the thing is, which I think would have made this replay a little bit better, is he gets this dismemberment and then he just lets go. But what I think would have been nicer is if he had gotten the dismemberment and then kept the grab and then threw the torso and then skeet capped it. That would have been sweet. Because then it's like really saying, like, look at how awesome I am, with the skeet cap, because you're like setting it up for yourself to skeet, which is pretty cool. And then you can like control where it goes and all that, and it's nice. That would have been a cool thing to do, I think. But this is what he ends up doing, just letting go. And then he does do a really good job at, I don't know, he could have set up the skeet a little bit quicker, but then it would have been less effective, and would have been less impressive, because it would have had less distance. So I don't really have too much of a problem with him waiting a little bit to start the skeet, because it just like lets more distance build, so it can be a better skeet. I feel like it could have gone a little bit faster, and if you look at it, like, it grabs, and if you opt bruise 0 here, you can see that it is hit, but it is not dismembered. It like has to take a few frames, and then the skeet hits, but then like the hand moves a little bit, and then the head snaps off. And like skeet decaps are definitely way better if they break as soon as it hits, instead of like hitting and then it sort of moves for a little bit and then it breaks off. You want it to be like the hit itself breaking the head off, rather than the grab from your hand breaking it off. It should be the same as if you're like throwing a crotch block or a hand. Like you can grab for the initial hit, but you can't let it grab and then 10 frames later get the decap. That's a no-no, I think. And then he does a cool, I like the pose here. It's a nice little ballerina toe spin, which is pretty sweet. I like it. So overall, there's a lot of cool flow stuff in here. He's definitely got a lot of really solid movement. The skeet could have had a little bit to be desired, I think, but other than that, it's pretty sweet. I like the flow. It's nice and relaxed and smooth and stuff. I like it. Which brings me, oh fuck, to my final replay. It's gonna be Simple Split Cap by none other than Manly Potato. Manly Potato is another one of those replay makers who I feel like is in that area where like I feel like I should like his replays more than I do. Missing that X Factor thing I was talking about with Duck's replays. But this replay I was watching earlier and I actually kind of like it. I kind of like this one. This is actually one of the better. I feel like every time I see a Manly Potato replay, I'm like, this is one of the better Manly Potato replays I've seen. But I don't know. He does a good job here. So in the opener, he sort of gets low, and then he ghosts his arm through the leg, which I actually kind of like in this scenario. A lot of people really hate ghosting for whatever reason, and I don't really see the reason why. I think it looks cool, kind of. It looks kind of, it's just like, has that Torbash jankiness that I love. It's just like, of course you can just move your arm through your own leg. I just think it's funny. But he does a good job at just coming up and getting this nice uppercut kick. Uppercut punch, I mean. It's a little bit weird how he makes it an uppercut, but then he lowers his arm. I think it's because it would have made it a lot easier for him to follow it up with his second kick. But I don't know, I think uppercuts are a lot cooler when you keep your arm raised and then you like keep going, rather than when you punch them and then you go down, I think. But what's really cool about this replay is he just quickly follows up. And this is a hard, that seems like a hard kick to hit and make work, I feel like. Because he just swings around. It's just a really fast hook kick to get that decap. And I don't know, there's not that much to say about. Oh, one second, I do want to just note how he lowers his right, lowers his right arm for a second here, and then immediately raises it, which is a little bit like you want to keep everything going in one direction. If you just look at his right arm here, it's like down, up. And so it would have been nicer if he had edited it so it had just been like just up, give it a little bit more of a flow. But the hook kick is definitely sweet as fuck. I do really like that, and the punch is cool. So there's not really that much wrong with this replay. I mean, it's like I said in the title, it's a really simple split cap, but it's definitely got some cool stuff in it. Like the kick is really nice. The kick is definitely the highlight of this replay, and then the opener is not too shabby either. Like at this point, this is a sort of generic E punch. It's not like terrible, but it's just like not super interesting. But the opener is interesting, and the kick is interesting. And then he just sort of doesn't pose because who cares? This is the kind of replay they don't need to pose for, I don't think. And that's it. I did it. I did another one. I did it again. 1 second. I'm going to talk to the people. So, that wraps it up for this week, I guess, of my replay streams. It's our single player Sunday. Thanks for the people for showing up. How many people did we end up getting to watch this stream, by the way? Like, what's the viewer number at? Let me check it. I don't have Twitch open, I just have the chat. I'm interested. I never find out, and then I check it like 2 days later. We got 34 people watching. That's a decent amount. That's cool. I did not forget to record. Don't you worry. I remembered to record. Yeah. I remember to record. Don't worry. We're good. So, that brings a close to this week. I hope you guys liked it. And, I don't know, I guess I'll see you in 2 weeks, right before, that'll be right before finals week for me, I think. So that'll be fun. It'll be fun to unwind and talk about replays for 4 hours before I get butt-fucked by tests for a week. But, I guess that's sort of it. I'm gonna see you guys in 2 weeks, so that's it. Bye.